Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Rieser, and today I will be giving a lesson on Google Forms. So this is a case study involving Mrs. Smith's class. This is a fifth grade classroom in which Mrs. Smith is trying to teach the children synonyms and antonyms by comparing relationships of different words. And then some of her goals are she wants to be able to read student responses and use that information to help her finalize plans for next day's lesson, just in case she needs to involve extra instruction for that next day. Number 2 is at the end of the week, she wants to be able to track how individual students and the class as a whole have grown in their understanding. So this can be done by quizzing, an exit ticket, etc. And number 3, she wants to give individual feedback to students about how well they're understanding each lesson so then they can work on whatever they're missing, or maybe she can provide supplemental instruction. So here's some of the challenges Mrs. Smith is facing. So it is difficult to precisely evaluate student understanding just because their answers are very vague on the exit tickets that she is giving. Number 2, it is difficult to get a bigger picture understanding of trends and patterns in students' understanding because there's so many different papers that she just can't keep track of each one in a file of some sort. And then number 3 is it is difficult to track individual students and the whole class growth over the course of the week. But yet, by the end of the week, she has 100 slips of paper that pile up. She's not able to see how the students have improved over time. So this also goes hand in hand with number 2, how she needs an individual space for her students to see how they're progressing and stuff like that. Number 4, it is difficult to get students' feedback about their understanding after an individual lesson or the entire week because of the reasons above. So basically, we need to find a place where we can test the students' understanding without it being super vague. We need a place where we can see individual data and overall data for the student, and then also be able to get an understanding of what the students need. So with that, I'm going to mention Google Forms. So this is a program within Google Suite, and this is often a program that I used a lot in my classrooms in high school and in college. It is accessible and free to all students and teachers and can provide final statistics of the course within a single document. So this can involve individual or overall. And then also you can put this into an Excel sheet and get the data from there. So then you can have individual data for each student and overall data, if that is what you would like to do. And then there is private feedback for individuals, but instructors can see all responses. So the instructor can comment on the questions or answers or the assignment which is provided, which in this case would be an exit ticket. So how to create a Google form. So first I'm going to tell you some features of Google Form before we get into the tech demo of this. So this can involve fill-in, multiple choice, short answer options in order for a testing scenario to occur, or quizzes, or an exit ticket. And then allows tracking of individuals who answered to the survey for grading purposes. So this keeps track of every individual who answered and those who haven't responded. So if a student just isn't simply filling out an assignment, then you can see that on there as well. All right, so let's move on to the demo of how this works. All right, so now we are on the tech demo screen. And as you can see, this is what will pop up whenever you log into your Google Gmail. So how this works is a lot of students, they have a student email account by the time they're in fifth grade and they're in intermediate school. So this will be perfect for setting that up as well. So here we are going to select synonym or antonym, which is a Google form, which I have already created, but it is just an example. So here you can add a title, and this automatically pops up whenever you open a new form. You can also see how many the questions, responses, and settings. Now this would be only from the instructor's point of view, so kids will not have access to this unless they make their own. And then right underneath, you can provide some instruction, and you can bold, italicize, underline. You can do all of those things, or provide a link. You can list, bulleted list. You can add pictures, a video, or other content. And you can add multiple sections within a question. So here is how the individual feedback will be answered by their name. They can give their name and their email address. So then the teacher can know exactly who answered what within the format. And then also an important feature is adding the required button. So the reason why that's important is because if you don't add the required button, then the students may not answer it. And so you wouldn't get any feedback from that. All right, so as you can see, we have short answer questions here, and then we get into our multiple choice questions. So we have 2 of these here. I added the required, and all of these are simply just added by choice. So you can put 2 answers, or you can put 15 answers if you want to. But I just put some basic synonym and antonym examples for the class to see. And then also at the end, I added another short answer. It says, are you struggling identifying between synonyms and antonyms? If so, please explain what you are struggling with. Only Mrs. Smith can see your responses. If not, please respond, I understand. This gives an opportunity for Mrs. Smith not only to be able to test the student's knowledge, but also she can see the previous responses. So if a student got both of those wrong and then they still say, I understand at the end, she knows that there's another issue at hand. So that will help a lot. So with this, I'm going to show you how to add a question. So you click Add Question right here alongside of this, and then you can ask a question. So we can ask something like, what is the antonym of hot? And we can put multiple options in. We can put warm. Then we can add another option. We can put cold, which is the real answer. And then you can type in whatever you want. You can put in T-Rex if you want. I'm just showing you how you can add different scenarios. So here's an example of multiple choice. And then here is where you select on, you can do short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, drop down. You can make a linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid. And that multiple choice grid and checkbox grid is awesome for making a rubric for assignments. So we're just going to click short answer, and I'm going to put, how was your day today? And then students can type whatever they want. They can type one word up to multiple sentences for a short answer response. So now I'm going to delete these off of here. All right, so now let's get into the data part of this. So as you can see at the top, you can click on responses. So as you can see, there has been 3 responses, and this was performed by my family members. So they put in their email, they put in their name, it tells me who responded, and then what is a synonym for beautiful. And all of them got it right. But also, if they would have chose dogs, then they could have selected that, which I would agree that dogs could be a good answer for this, but not really for Mrs. Smith's class. Okay, so what is an antonym for cold? All of them put hot. It says 100% of them put hot. So now we can see it says, I don't know what an antonym is. I understand, I understand. And you can tell who this is because it's correlated with the order of who responded when up here. So what is your name? Email. So I could email and Mrs. Smith could email the person who said this and ask them if they need more supplemental instruction, or she can simply just provide more in class. And now here is the settings portion. So you can make this a quiz. You can assign set answers. You can allow for them to see missed questions, point values, correct questions, set a point value. So there's multiple different ways to do this. So also collect by email address. Only allow one response. Send responders copies of their response if you want them to be able to study with it. Questions. Yep. So form defaults collect email addresses by default. That's important because if you don't, then Mrs. Smith would not be able to collect all of the data. So, all right, that is all that I have for you guys. I hope that you enjoy Google Forms, and I hope that Mrs. Smith can use this successfully in her classroom. Thank you. Have a great day.